Hello there. I'm David A. Specht, and I want to be your coach. If there's anything that I have learned in my 30 plus years of leadership and coaching, I have learned that mindset is everything. Join me and my guests as we explore the positives and negatives of that thing between our ears. This is Keep This in Mind. Good morning, Elevate Success Path, and welcome to today's lesson. I want to talk with you for the next few minutes about occupation versus vocation, or subhead, hourly mindset versus salary mindset, leading for impact, not just activity. So let's dive in. I learned these two definitions a long time ago about vocation versus occupation. Occupation is an exchange. I'm exchanging time for money. You're occupying my time, my skill set, and I would be paid. And so we have this exchange. A vocation, however, is your calling, this is what I was put on this earth to do. This is my purpose in what I do. This is the reason behind why I put in the hours. You see the difference? It's kind of a shift. And not everybody is geared for this. Not everybody naturally falls into this idea that they're working for impact, that they're working for purpose, that they're doing a calling. Many times we just check the box, clock in, do the work, clock out. And can I tell you that making the shift from hourly to salary, from occupation to vocation is key to long-term success. Now, you may not want to hear it. You may not think that this matters because you've done it all. You're doing the work, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the operations, you're doing the fulfillment, you're doing all the things. But if you are to scale, if you're going to grow, then you have to lead a team. You have to bring people on to assist you. You have to get strategic partners. And so being able to lead from a place of occupation matters. So I've got a nifty graph, chart, whatever you want to call it, that I think will help us understand these different mindsets and how they manifest in what we do. So here we go. You ready? Here's our comparisons. Your mindset. If you're in an hourly or occupation, I do this so I get paid. I drive an Uber car so I can get paid. I log time so I can get paid. But to have the vocation mindset, it's I'm called to do this. Oh, and I do get compensated for it. Coaches, for instance, I'm a coach. I am called to do this. I am called to look at somebody's situation and give them feedback. I am called to open up their minds to a different way of thinking. And because I'm called to do that, there's value. And because there's value, I get compensated. Our focus, time, tasks, checklists. Look, I use a checklist just like the next guy, okay? There's nothing wrong with checklists. But if you're just doing a checklist for the sake of the checklist, that you don't see beyond the task, if you don't see beyond the hours worked, then you are in an occupation mindset. However, if you're seeing the results, the mission, the growth that is tied to the tasks, now all of a sudden you're opening yourself up to a vocation mindset. I may have to do this on social media. I may have to make this post. I may have to do this marketing, but I see it as this is furthering the mission, and therefore there's a different mindset behind it. The language you use sets the tone of whether or not it's a occupation or vocation. If you use terms like that's not my job, I'm off the clock, those types of phrases permeate all of your relationships. You're basically telling everybody, look, This is it. You're a means to an end. My work is a means to an end. Hiring you is a means to an end. And there is no sense of mission there. Whereas if you change your mindset to this matters whether I'm clocked in or not. Now understand, I'm not talking about overworking. I'm not talking about what the gurus say about, work 9 to 5 on your life, but work, 5 to 9 on your dreams. What I'm saying is when you understand the purpose behind what you're doing, then you recognize that it matters. Now, some things may not be 911. Some things may not require you till your next time in the office tomorrow. But recognizing that it matters, it's more about the mindset than it is about the actual doings, the setting of the priorities. When we're dealing with relationships, and this happens a lot in sales, if you're in an occupation mindset, everything's transactional. I do this, I get paid this. I give you this, I get paid that. There's another course, there's another group, there's another this, there's another that. And here at Elevate, we are working really, really hard not to make it feel like that what we do matters and that we have a vested interest in your company and the success of your company, not just what you can bring to us in the way of fees and subscriptions and whatever. We believe in the relational. We believe that having a vested interest in you and your success matters. And when you begin to shift your focus in your business from simply the monetization of your skill set to the impact that skill set can bring to others, it will drastically change your attitude. It will drastically change the focus of your business. And the third, motivation. Hourly occupational people avoid consequences. You've seen it before, don't rock the boat, don't ruffle the feathers, don't give the bosses anything to gripe about. Just keep your head down and do your job. Ever heard those? But when you're in vocation, when you're in your purpose, when you are out there chasing that which matters to you and matters to the world, you know that there's going to be some consequences. You know that there's going to be pushback. You know that it's going to be difficult. You know there's going to be adversity. But the pursuit of the excellence trumps it all. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to try it. You know what? I'm going to start this endeavor. You know what? I'm going to make this call. You know what? I'm going to have this conversation, regardless of what the consequences are, because pursuing excellence matters. So I want you to think about these things from a leadership standpoint. And I want to give you 4 quick things that will help you deal with this. As a leader, remember, one of the reasons we even created Elevate Success Path was to help you go from solo entrepreneur, small business to scale. And doing that thing requires certain mindsets and certain skill sets. So, number 1, leaders must recognize the difference between occupation and vocation. Not everyone's wired for mission over money. They just aren't. They just want to do the job and go home, and that's okay. If they're that mindset, then recognize that. But also begin to lead them. Remember, leadership is influence. And if you can influence them and begin to help their own mindset and reiterate why what they do matters and how much you appreciate what they do, it can drastically change what people see. And they will begin to shift their own mindset. It takes time. It's not easy. No mindset shift is. It takes intentionality. You get what you model. If you operate from a checklist or a clock-in mentality, people will see it and they will model that. But if you talk about impact and growth and excellence and why and taking ownership, and you follow that up with actions that illustrate that, then you will begin to have that mindset shift that you're looking for. Now, you may be a solopreneur right now. You're it. You're, chief cook and bottle washer. But the more you model this for yourself, the more it will become second nature when you are leading a team. And it would be a whole lot easier to have it built into your DNA before you bring on people than to try to have them unlearn what you've modeled thus far. Vocation isn't about the role, it's about the why. Everybody that you come into contact with within your organization, that whether they're the janitor or the CEO, should understand that what they do matters. Every single thing. Dave Ramsey, who, again, not too far from where I live, he even changed the titles of people. I remember the receptionist that he had in his organization. I think he rechanged it to something like director of first impressions. The truth of the matter is the receptionist is the director of first impressions, but the mindset shift and just that title change helps them go from an hourly to a salary, from an occupation to a vocation mindset. And number 4, compensation fairly, but lead beyond the paycheck. Look, there's people that are brilliant and worth every penny that you're going to pay them. They are. But that's not enough. I had a manager one time when I would ask him things like, "Hey, why don't we do a sales stipend? Let's do a bonus structure." And he goes, "I pay them a salary to sell, and they need to sell." Can I tell you that when you have that attitude, you will get the bare minimum? You just will. But when you recognize and honor and bonus and compensate, all of a sudden you begin to shift those mindsets from doing the bare minimum to get by to doing what it takes to win. Recognition, growth opportunities, trust, they're all powerful motivators for those around you to begin to adopt a vocation mindset. So, as we wrap things up this morning, I want to share with you just a few questions to take home. Might want to write them down because I didn't do any nifty slides on this one. Number 1, am I treating my people like time-based workers or impact-based partners? Am I treating the people I work with as simply clock in, clock out, and get tasks done, or am I treating them as vital members of a team that is going to create a major impact? Number 2, what do I talk more about, tasks or purpose? Do I just talk about the work that needs to be done today, or do I talk about the purpose behind the work? That people are counting on us, or we're going to make an impact, or this will push us to that next level that will help us make an even greater impact or a greater dent in the world with our mission. And how can I reward mindset, not just output? Your best salesperson, your best production person may have the worst attitude. And do they need to be celebrated? Or do you celebrate that one that has the can-do, go-to attitude? Because here's what you model, people will follow, and what you reward, people will repeat. Let me say that again. What you model, people will follow, and what you reward, people will repeat. Look, this isn't about punching a clock. Vocation-driven leaders inspire people to change lives. My question for you this morning is, what kind of leader do you want to be? You want to be a vocation leader? It takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes consistency. Can I tell you that vocation-driven leaders, those are the ones that have the greatest impact. They're the ones that end up in front of the Lamborghini. They're the ones that talk about the lives changed. They're the ones that people will go through a brick wall for. The occupation-minded ones, they're the ones that people show up late, they leave early, and they steal while they're there. They steal time from you. They steal effort from you. What kind of leader do you want to be? My hope is that you want to be a vocation leader. And if you're not there yet, it's okay. But can I encourage you? Begin to do the diligence to get there. That is going to do it for this episode of Keep This in Mind. For more, visit davidaspecht.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and remember, applied knowledge is power. God bless.